Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, well, it's laser focused. We are building out a complete operational playbook just for you, the Colorado real estate professional, specifically for mastering what looks to be a challenging 2026 lifting market. This isn't just theory. We're digging into a system designed to win listings across the Front Range, think, Denver Metro, the Springs, Northern Colorado, the whole corridor.
Yeah, and the source material we're drawing from is really clear on this. Strategy beats volume every time. It completely reframes how you actually win a listing. It's not about, making more noise or just having endless contacts. Listings are won when that homeowner gets total clarity. Absolute clarity on the truth of their net. And crucially, that truth has to be seen through the lens of buyer payment comfort.
Payment comfort.
Exactly. We're going to show you how to translate all that home equity into actual action. We'll use some really tactical methods like banded pricing, buyer payment engineering. These are predicted to be, essential tools for any agent wanting to really grow their business portfolio come 2026.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's get right into the tactics. We'll kick off with the psychology, those barriers holding sellers back. Then we'll move into that three-tiered pricing strategy you mentioned: base, stretch, accelerate. And finally, we'll really break down the math, the difference between offering buyer credits versus just, slashing the price. If you want, get hesitant homeowners off the fence from maybe later to let's sign, then yeah, you need to lean into this.
Right. We absolutely have to start with where the seller's head is at right now.
Yeah.
The source material points to two really powerful forces shaping behavior across the Front Range. First is what they're calling the locked-in effect. You know who these are. Owners who snagged those amazing sub 4% rates back in the refi boom.
Mm-hmm.
And psychologically, they just feel completely handcuffed to that low monthly payment.
Oh, I hear this constantly, all the time. They need to move, right? Family's bigger, jobs relocated. But they look at current rates, and it's an automatic no. They assume moving equals a financial hit no matter how much equity they're sitting on.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That psychological handcuff, it's very real. And the second force is the rising complexity of the cost stack. It's not just the fear of a higher mortgage rate anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing really dramatic shifts in things like HOA dues, insurance costs, especially, in condo and townhome corridors. That's a big one.
Right.
And you, the agent, you also have to factor in overlapping move costs, maybe storage fees, and the risk from things like HELOC reset, a home equity line of credit reset. That can be a shock when the intro rate ends.
So the old approach of just, calling more often or trying to be encouraging, it just falls flat because their fear isn't just vague anxiety. It's a numbers fear, a fear of a nasty surprise on the net sheet. The complexity just paralyzes them.
Exactly right. Clarity. That's the only converter here. When you lay out the equity math in a structured way, you replace that fuzzy uncertainty with a tangible framework. And the agent's role, it shifts. You stop being a salesperson trying to push the listing. You become an educator teaching the pathway. You reframe the whole decision. It's not, oh no, rates are high.
Right.
It becomes, okay, this is the move that fits my financial reality, even accounting for the HELOC payoff and the rising insurance. That teaching stance builds instant credibility.
Okay, so if we're going to teach, we need the right materials, we need data, and the sources are adamant. Pricing talks can't start with just citywide averages. We have to get down to the cell level.
That's the game changer for really mastering these micro markets. A cell needs to be defined tightly. It's the ZIP code, sure, but also the specific asset type: single family, condo, townhome, plus the school zone. And for denser areas like condos or townhomes, maybe even a specific building overlay. So you need to pull 60 to 90 days of really granular data for that specific cell. Comps, concessions, days on market, DOM, and also key metrics like inventory tenor. How long would it take to sell everything currently listed? And absorption rates, how fast are comparable homes actually selling?
That's a fair bit of data crunching. Agents definitely need efficient ways to generate these micro-market snapshots. So once you have that evidence, the recommendation is to present 3 bands, not just a single price point. But wait, doesn't offering 3 potential prices, sort of admitting uncertainty, doesn't that risk undermining the agent's authority?
It's a good question, but no. Because your authority isn't coming from pretending you have a crystal ball. It comes from the evidence you bring to the table. Sellers aren't dumb. They know the market's complex. These 3 bands, base, stretch, and accelerate, they actually give the seller a decision framework that acknowledges that complexity, which they appreciate.
Okay, walk us through those 3 bands then. What are they?
So the base band. Think of this as the floor price. It's designed for certainty. It's structured to get the property sold probably in 14 to 21 days, based directly on those absorption rates we just talked about. And importantly, it assumes the use of moderate concessions, something like funding a 2-1 buy-down credit for the buyer.
Okay, standard play. And the stretch band, that's the aspirational one. What makes that price defensible? You can't just pick a high number.
No, absolutely not. It's only defensible if, 1, the home's condition is genuinely superior to the comps, and 2, the recent sales data in that specific cell shows very low concession intensity. People aren't having to give much away. To make that stretch price actually work, you usually need a more robust financing incentive for the buyer. Often that means a permanent rate buy-down to make sure their payment comfort isn't totally wrecked by the higher list price.
Got it. And the third one? Accelerate.
Yeah, the accelerate band is purely tactical. It's an attention-getting price. It's deliberately set lower to compress the days on market down to maybe just 7 to 10 days. The whole point is to generate immediate interest, maybe multiple offers, creating leverage for the seller to then offer structured credits that they control, rather than just reacting.
So showing this range lets the seller engage more rationally, choose their own risk level.
Exactly. It frames the choice. And that clarity, it has to carry right through to the seller's net sheet. No guesswork. It needs to be honest, and it needs to be scenario-based. So beyond just putting in conservative estimates for brokerage fees and closing costs, you absolutely must model the full cost stack, all of it. That means including scenario planning for repairs and refresh bands. Show them what 0% looks like, what 1% for paint and carpet looks like, what 3% for bigger items looks like. And critically, tie those numbers to actual line item contractor quotes you've sourced, not just vague guesses. Make it real.
And we have to loop back to those complex external costs we mentioned earlier, right? The ones driving that background fear.
100%. The net sheet has to show the complete financial picture. That means HOA and insurance adjustments showing potential dues changes, special assessments, deductible impacts. We recommend summarizing all that on a separate financeability sheet, which we'll touch on. It also needs the calculated HELOC payoff line and even an allowance for move overlap.
Yeah.
Planning for potentially 2, maybe even 6 weeks of double housing costs or storage fees.
Yeah.
It all adds up.
Okay, let's really dive into what feels like the core strategic choice in this 2026 playbook. Credits versus price cuts. Sellers, their gut instinct is usually just lower the price. Seems simpler. Why is that often the least effective move in this kind of market?
It's simple math, really. In the current rate environment, a modest price cut, let's say you drop it by $10,000, it barely makes a dent in the buyer's actual monthly payment. It might save them, what, $50 a month? Maybe?
Right, almost negligible.
Yeah, negligible impact on affordability. Plus, the market values list price stability. Buyers and appraisers notice price cuts. Now, take that exact same $10,000. Instead of cutting the price, use it as a credit to fund a financing incentive for the buyer. A 2-1 buy-down, maybe a permanent rate buy-down. Suddenly, you're delivering a meaningful change in the buyer's monthly comfort level. Hundreds of dollars, potentially.
Ah, okay. So it's really about choosing where you get the most leverage for the seller's money. You protect the perceived value by holding the list price, but you make the home actually affordable month to month for more buyers.
That's it, exactly. You're guiding the seller's spend to maximize the buyer's ability to say yes. The money gets spent either way, maybe, but using it for rate reduction multiplies its impact. It makes the property genuinely financeable for a wider pool of people. Better outcome.
All right, moving from the core math into specific execution tactics. Let's talk about dated properties. Lots of those out there. The sources recommend something called the 2-path memo.
Yeah.
How does this help a seller who's maybe paralyzed about doing updates?
The 2-path memo is designed to make the decision really clear. It presents an apples-to-apples comparison, certainty versus potential premium. Path 1 is the straightforward as-is cash offer path. It generally means lower net for the seller, but it offers the highest certainty and a fast timeline, maybe 10 to 21 days close.
Okay, the easy button.
Pretty much. Path 2 is the light refresh plus MLS listing path. This promises a potentially higher net, but it takes longer, say 30 to 60 days, and involves targeted updates. Think paint, flooring, maybe lighting, basic curb appeal. But here's the key. To make Path 2 feel real and not just hypothetical, the memo must include actual line item quotes from contractors for the work, and a vendor calendar showing exactly when each step would happen. It makes the timeline tangible, manageable, less scary.
That makes sense, turning ambiguity into a plan. Now, what about specific friction points, especially in denser urban areas? Let's talk condo and townhome financeability. These deals can fall apart easily over buyer fears about rising HOA dues, special assessments, maybe pending litigation.
Yeah, those are major attrition sources, deal killers. And you, as the listing agent, have to proactively eliminate that fear. The way you do it is by converting all those unknowns, the dues volatility, the reserve status, any litigation into published clarity before you even list. We recommend using a concise 2-page financeability summary. This document pulls together the key info lenders need: owner occupancy ratios, the HOA's master insurance details, reserve strength, assessment history. You make this available up front. It de-risks the entire file for lenders and buyers before an offer even comes in. Huge confidence builder.
That's proactive. Okay, this playbook is built for the whole front range. How does this core strategy, the equity math, the payment engineering, adapt across different Colorado submarkets? Does it change?
The core principles are the same, but the tactical emphasis definitely shifts. You have to localize. Take the Denver South suburbs areas like Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree, Parker, often more affluent, lots of detached homes. Maintaining the perception of value is critical there. So in those markets, the base and stretch bands are usually the focus. And permanent buydowns become the preferred tool because they lock in that long-term payment comfort for the buyer, helping defend that higher list price.
Okay, what about Colorado Springs? Big military presence, lots of VA loans, PCS moves.
Exactly. Totally different dynamics. In the Springs, first, you absolutely have to align your listing calendar with the permanent changes station PCS cycles. Timing is everything. Second, you need to meticulously evaluate any potentially assumable VA loans that could be a huge advantage if handled correctly. And third, critically, you need tidewater readiness. That means having intensive appraisal preparation materials ready to go from day one. VA appraisals can be tough. You need to be prepared to defend the value proactively. Don't wait for a low appraisal.
Preemptive strike on the appraisal. Got it. And lastly, northern Colorado. Places like Greeley, Loveland, Fort Collins, often more focused on affordability.
Yeah, affordability is king up there. So the base band pricing strategy, combined with offering a 2-1 buy-down option, that's usually the winning combo, gets people in the door and makes the payment work for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
And in NoCo, reducing deal friction, reducing attrition is paramount. So agents there should absolutely be using pre-inspection reports and getting pre-vetted insurance memos up front to minimize the chances of the deal falling apart late in the game over small stuff.
Okay, so this whole system, this entire strategy, it really flows into a very precise client meeting structure, doesn't it? You start with the hard evidence, present the pricing bands, explain the payment engineering, offer the 2-path memo if needed, and establish your proactive appraisal posture. That logical flow should naturally lead to commitment. But you need the right language, the right scripts to tie it all together.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you need to ditch the abstract sales jargon. When you're talking about equity clarity, the script needs to sound direct, like a teacher explaining the numbers. Something like this. Okay, I've built out your 3 potential net sheets: base, stretch, and accelerate. And see these toggles here. We can adjust for your HLOC payoff, factor in the latest HOA figures, and model in a 2-1 credit allowance. You'll see exactly how shifting each of these knobs impacts your final bottom line. No surprises. It's the language of control and transparency.
How does that specific, almost clinical language help overcome the seller's maybe initial sticker shock when they see the full cost stack laid out? You know, seeing that HLSC number or the repair costs in black and white.
Because you're showing them the solution in the very same breath. They see the cost, yes, but they immediately see the precise calculated net outcome they can achieve by choosing one of the 3 structured paths you've presented.
Yeah.
It takes away that feeling of being overwhelmed by the total expense and focuses them squarely on the controlled outcome. It makes it manageable.
All right, let's hit the most common objection directly. I just don't want to pay buyer closing costs or credits. You hear that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
And this is where you need that calibrated, unemotional reply ready to go. You immediately contrast the impact of their money. You say, look, a $10,000 price cut. In this rate environment, it barely moves the buyer's monthly payment. Might save them $50, $60, and frankly, it just signals price weakness. Now, that same $10,000 used strategically as a buy-down credit, that can instantly slash their monthly payment by several $100s. Big difference. It's the same financial outlay for you, potentially, but it delivers a dramatically better result. It expands our pool of genuinely qualified buyers and, crucially, preserves the value perception of your list price.
So you're framing it purely as a strategic investment in making the deal happen, in financeability.
Exactly. It's math, not emotion. And then the ultimate close becomes very simple, very logistical, no pressure, just next steps. It's simply, okay, based on this show, we put the base band price, the agreed upon credit menu, and these vendor dates into the listing agreement and get you officially on the calendar.
Right. It asks for commitment to the plan you just built together, not just a vague promise to list someday.
Precisely. It's about executing the structure. Hashtag tag outro. So let's quickly recap this 2026 playbook. The core idea is that equity math converts hesitant sellers. Why? Because it replaces that paralyzing fear with solid structure. It replaces wishful thinking with a tangible, evidence-backed plan. Your success really hinges on a few key things. Framing price, honestly using those micro-market data bands, engineering buyer comfort with strategic credits, meticulously modeling that full cost stack, no hiding, and presenting a short, clear, executable calendar to get it done.
And here's the final, maybe provocative thought we want to leave you with today. A great price and a fantastic projected net. They mean absolutely nothing if the deal craters 3 weeks before closing. The agents who truly win in 2026 will be the ones who actively de-risk the entire transaction from day one. That means controlling every potential source of attrition, proactively managing inspection negotiations, getting ahead of insurance shocks, nailing down all the HOA documentation before you list, using formal tools like a fall-through prevention checklist and comprehensive appraiser packets. That's the standard.
That is absolutely the level of preparation and the systematic execution that the top agents are going to adopt. It's about controlling the process. And for those of you listening who are ready to actually implement this kind of detailed system, ready to prepare your business portfolio right now, the tools you need to generate these critical documents, those micro-market snapshots, the payment relief menus, the condo financeability summaries, even the commitment pages we discussed, they are available. Check out TimeToSell.AI. You can start generating these high-leverage lead and listing tools immediately to get ahead of the curve for 2026.